Welcome to the Great Distraction.
Welcome back, everyone. This is The Great Distraction, and right now is the continuation, part 2 of online dating. My name is Ben, and with me today are my co-hosts, Thomas.
How's it going?
Rick.
Hey, buddy.
And Glenn.
Howdy.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We thank you for joining us. The Great Distraction is a podcast that focuses on a vast and random range of topics, and we hope that each episode leaves you with, if nothing else, something to ponder. And hopefully you're still pondering what we left you with last time in part 1.
Are you still playing with it?
I'm done on that one, man. You guys.
He was doing it for years. You don't think he stopped since the last time, right?
Yeah. All the while I was trying to see when online dating didn't work, I had to play with it.
In the closet.
Oh man, that's not fair. We're not even playing with it. Oh, you guys just suck.
We see where this is going already.
All right.
Ben, if it weren't for the gutter, your mind would be homeless.
That's clever. Very witty. Thank you for that. So I'm a firm believer of we can't know where we are now without a little bit of knowing where we came from. And being that I've been involved in online dating for many, many years, at various points in my life, not all the way through, I wanted to give a little quick rundown of how things came to be because I found it very fascinating when I started putting things together. See, at the time I was going through it, you don't really see it as an overall picture, right? But as things played out over the years, I found it real interesting to see it put together. There's actually a Wikipedia post on the online dating, chronological online dating history, if you will, of how these companies came to be and what happened with it. And I distinctly remember most of them and have little quips I wanted to add about each one. So I wanted to go over real quick how things got to where they are now because I think it does play
Madness,
yeah. I think it does play a big part in explaining why things work the way they do or don't work in some ways that we were just going over in the previous episode there. For me, it started in the mid 1990s. HTML chat we had talked about. These are just straight up chat rooms that people would meet at, and it wasn't for the intent of dating, but that was a lot of that going on, right? Because you'd throw out there your ASL question mark. Somebody would come back with a 17 female from wherever, California. Oh, really? We're in California. If you met somebody who was around your age or whatever, you might actually meet them in person, and I did. For a number of people. I don't recall any relationships coming from that, but I definitely met people back in that day before there were profile pictures and MySpace and social media and anything of that nature. In 1995, Match.com was founded, and I thought this was real interesting because it was for two reasons. One, it was the first major profile and matching service-based website. So we were discussing in the last episode about profile-based websites. This was pretty much the first big one. There's in all of these. There's a first that I'll list here. There's a lot of smaller websites that started up and different entities that came about too. But these are the most popular ones that history will remember. There were a lot of local ones and geographical ones that the rest of the country or perhaps the rest of the world didn't even never saw, so they never knew about. One of the things I thought was real cool about Match.com that I did not know about is later they actually currently own OkCupid, Tinder, and Plenty of Fish. So the one that started off the major online dating profile services is now the one that runs Swipe Dating and the two biggest profile-based dating websites in the market. That's crazy. I mean,
It makes total sense to me.
It does.
They were there from the beginning. They honed it. They mastered it. They branched out. It seems like they probably monopolized the whole thing.
Probably to some degree. I mean, Tinder's massive, right? Plenty of Fish, huge. Okay, I mean that's crazy. They obviously had a recipe that they knew how to use and
once they developed something that worked, they were able to expand it.
Yep. Yeah, and they didn't even shut down Match.com as far as I know. I didn't look, but I think Match.com is still open and still running. I do not know, though. I haven't. It might be closed down. I didn't.
Yeah, I've heard of people using it probably like 5 years ago.
It may not be open anymore. I don't know. It was for a long time, though. It lasted a good 20 years at least. In 2000, eHarmony was founded, and that was, again, a profile-based matching service. This one was the first one, I think, that really started. I don't recall seeing TV ads for Match.com, but eHarmony, I recall seeing tons of TV ads.
eHarmony.com.
That's it, yes. See, we remember
The jingle.
Glenn even
Well,
remembers
yeah.
the jingle, man.
I do remember that one.
That was the first one that I had ever seen advertising on major media. So I thought that was a very influential time because, I mean, at this point, online period wasn't, I guess 2000 it was starting to be or whatever, but I think that really opens people's mind to, hey, I can potentially meet a mate online. Okay, cool. In 2000 also brought what ended up becoming a way more influential entity in my life, but also in the whole scheme of things. And that's really one of the reasons I wanted to go over this past. For those of us that were around during that time and utilizing these services, Hot or Not was founded in 2000. And the cool thing about this website that really changed the world is it was not a traditional dating website. It was actually a website set up to rate the level of hotness of profile pics. So people would create an account, throw up some pictures of themselves, and others would. You didn't have to have an account. It was just a 1 through 10 rating system. Check our little radio button if whatever level of 1 through 10 you thought this person was hot, and go on to the next profile. That's all it was. It was created by a couple of engineering students in UC Berkeley. And in the first week, it was hitting 2 million page views per day. This is in 2000, folks. There was not pages that big. And these two threw this out there, and it was massively successful right off the bat. Wow. It was so successful that they had so many requests for a feature like this. They created what was called they created an additional feature, what they called their Meet Me function. And the Meet Me function was essentially a first like-based dating. And I actually met, I don't know, maybe half dozen, maybe a dozen girls off of this website. It was a lot less scamming because this was really before the scammers figured out how to scam you. And you would just click the Meet Me in addition to the rating or just the Meet Me by itself. And then you could, if you got the match, or I think if you were a paid member, you could just message directly. And there were very few people using that function, and even fewer people paying for it. So you actually got through to pretty much all the girls that you or guys. I didn't try to message guys, but you would message. You could get through to any of the girls that you tried to message. I'm assuming it was the same in reverse for girls. So that was pretty crazy, and it was so crazy that YouTube founders. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch their name. I don't remember their names. You can look them up. But the YouTube founders later told Time magazine in an interview that they had originally set out to start, when they were going to build YouTube, had originally set out to start a Hot or Not with video website. That's how influential this was. Mark Zuckerberg originally started Facebook with an idea very similar to Hot or Not. It was called Face Mash, one word. And what he had done, if you saw the movie, he stole all the student user database with all the pictures of the students from Harvard, where he was going to school at the time, and put them together in a rating website that I've never seen pictures of it, but as the movie portrayed, it looked exactly like Hot or Not. So that's all he did. He just took the database. And anyway, that's how he started social media, going down the social media path, and then from there created Facebook. So that's freaking crazy to think about, that little website that, I thought nobody was on. Turns out a lot of people were on it. Back then we had no stats. We still, we a lot, like as I had mentioned in the last episode, a lot of these websites don't give you any stats. We have no idea how big this stuff really is or whatever, right? But that's pretty insane that it inspired YouTube and Facebook from this dating website. And I actually still have a couple of friends that I met from Hot or Not today. That's what I thought was really crazy. The owners of Ashley Madison, and I'll get into who they were, actually bought Hot or Not in 2008 for $20 million. Ooh. 8 years after they were founded, $20 million. Two guys. In 2002, Ashley Madison was founded. This one was influential because it was the first, I couldn't think of a better term for this, but it was the first devious promoted type online dating site. And I say devious because it promoted cheating. The whole point behind the website was it was marketed towards men. I think there was girl profiles as well, where you would cheat on your significant other, and you could use this website to meet other people who were cheating or knew you were cheating and therefore knew what was going on.
Is this the one that leaked all the email addresses or something recently? Okay, that sounds familiar.
Huge deal when it got hacked. And that also is influential because that was one of the first times in the general media that people started understanding that they needed to be paranoid about what they put out into the world. You couldn't just lie to your girlfriend and do this online and not get caught, right? I mean, think about all the things that once that started playing out, how many people started locking their cell phones to hide what they were doing? I mean, that concept that you need to be concerned about what you put on the internet was still very new at this time.
When all the images that were shared from Snapchat, the people thought that it just disappeared, so they're sending all their nudes out, you know, and then what was her name, Jennifer Lawrence or whatever, lost her mind because she'd done too much of that.
I didn't catch up with that, but I know what you're talking about. What they thought that all the images disappeared, and when they hacked that website, they were able to steal all kinds of.
So was it supposed to be like every 24 hours or something? Like it disappeared? Because like on Facebook or on Instagram, you can do posts that disappear in 24 hours, something like that.
So I think you were like essentially texting someone, right? And you could you could share them a picture, and you could set it to delete over a certain period of time. So let's say you sent Ben a picture of your junk, and he can only see it for 7 seconds, and then it goes away. Well, somebody else has
really
that.
Go away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all of a sudden didn't really go away.
Yeah.
Oh snap, we were being lied to. Yeah, welcome to data retention, guys. They're keeping everything. In 2004, OkCupid was founded. And it was another profile-based, again, they were all pretty much profile-based back in the day, and still are to some degree. A very limited matching service. It did bring an interesting aspect that I wanted to note here was you answer personality determining questions. And I had talked about this earlier, where there are thousands of these questions to ask, and they're kind of entertaining, and they're broken into 7 different categories of life. Political, religious, whatever, and it's kind of interesting to build your profile by building your profile traits that are gleaned from this information of answering all these questions, and it helps them match people who feel about the same based on how they answer the question. So that's kind of cool. In 2006, Seeking Arrangement was founded, and this changed online dating, gave online dating a whole new personality. And it was because it was the first major sugar daddy, sugar baby service. And that was just completely different. So for those that don't know, sugar daddy, sugar baby services are, okay, let's say, for example, you're a 18, 19-year-old female of whatever attractiveness, and you're getting yourself in college, and you're like, you know what, I can't afford this, but I can sell my services, so to speak, or my time with someone who's willing to pay for it. And this whole sugar daddy, sugar baby concept has expanded out from here. And it was originally promoted and started, best I know, I guess you could say in roots of prostitution. So like the oldest occupation in the world. But with respect to online dating, Seeking Arrangement really did make it popular and make it possible for so many people to do. But it's really a simple concept. It's whatever you work out between a guy and a girl, or whatever, I guess it could be anything, but a guy and a girl, for what you're willing to pay that girl for her life, her time, whatever. And that's your agreement. It can be, hey, have a date with me for $200 and I'll pay for dinner and, pay you to be on a date with me, kind of like an escort service, but without the sex. It could be, I want to be in a relationship with you for it's 6 months, 1 semester, whatever. I'll pay your tuition if we do that. If we can be in that relationship, it can be, and she can have multiple. It's kind of whatever terms you work out.
Whatever agreement you guys come up to.
That's it. It could just be for companionship. It could be for sex. It could be for a full-on relationship. It could just be for friends. It's whatever a guy is willing to pay a girl for.
And when was this launched?
This one came out in 2006.
So about 10 years after Match. It's kind of interesting. It took that long for that concept to come out. And
it may have existed before, right? I mean, there was probably more underground. Again, these are not the only ones, or even in some cases the first ones. But this was the one that really made it public and advertised in the media and reached a lot of people.
Like the large successful ones,
there you
essentially.
Go.
Okay.
Yeah. In 2009, this was another influential one. So this is shifting directions here. Grindr was founded. I never knew what Grindr was, and when I looked into it, I found out what it was about, and I was like, oh, well, that's why I didn't know what it was. Grindr was the first major gay and lesbian-focused dating website, and it was also one of the first dating websites, period, to tie in geosocial aspects via iOS devices. So what that means is when you had an account, you're gay or lesbian, you have an account that you have set up on Grindr, you open up the app, it looks around for people within your vicinity, proximity, with like very close, not just in your city, and automatically alerts you, hey, whoever's over here and whoever's over here, send them a message real quick. And it was basically designed to be a gay and lesbian hookup app, Tinder, but only for gay people. It was huge, or it still is, as far as I know. I don't even know if it's still out there, but it was huge. And it was crazy that it was geosocial and also in Apple, because a lot of times Apple in the beginning did not support dating websites or anything sex-related or whatever. And I mean, they've since changed quite a bit, but I think Grindr probably had something to do with that. So that's kind of very influential because it changed that, because it probably paved the way for 2012 when Tinder was founded. And Tinder at first was only an app, was just an app. You could only get it on your Android or smartphone. But it was vastly influential because it made swipe dating mainstream. And swipe dating is, as we've been talking about, swipe left you don't like or you don't want to match. Swipe right you do like or you do want to match. It just completely impersonalized the nature of online dating. And it's just kind of like a super vain endeavor, but that is how we date nowadays. That's how many people date nowadays, the most popular formats of it. And that really got popularized by Tinder. And the interesting thing, too, about that was Tinder also advertised to the general public to be a hookup app. So, I mean, that was kind of weird that it didn't even take the aspect of trying to find you a mate. It just, I guess it did, a relationship. It just played off of, hey, everybody get hook up. So after people got tired of that, 2014, Bumble came along, which we had talked about already in the previous episode. Bumble actually, later Tinder added a website aspect to it too, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's just on a website instead of on their app. Bumble kind of filled in some of the problems that Tinder brought. Most importantly, it was the first major dating company to structure itself with women in power, so to speak, because the females must contact the males first, and that kind of rules out a lot of the scamming and the problems and the inappropriate messages, and the guys just can't
bombardment of
that's it. That's a great word for it. The bombardment of
I feel like we're hearing a National Geographic. The female must notify the male first before the love-making process commences in the woods.
Nice.
I like it. Yeah, something like that, actually. And several others. The reason they're influential is because they have now inspired that change in multiple websites, including Tinder. Tinder has already changed its evil ways in many countries, and it will be coming to the U.S. soon to allow women to contact first. So, as I had mentioned in the last episode, I have spoken to a lot of girls that had told me that they absolutely will not be the first one to contact under any circumstances, means, or therewith, whatever. Which
is that because they're shy, don't have confidence for it, or it's just kind of like biologically not what we're wired for?
I think it's more of a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So the feeling I got from it, I believe pretty much everything has a biological or anthropological reason. So yes, I think that plays into it too. But the feeling I got from every girl that I talked to about it was they're freaking scared. They don't want to be put out. They don't want to put themselves on the line like we have to, like they expect us to.
It is scary.
It's scary, but they don't want to deal with it. So that's the vibe I got from all the girls that I had asked about it.
Did they mention like it didn't matter if they had like a higher level of felt security from that option, or it just wasn't worth it?
I think they're afraid of rejection like we are.
Yeah, but the level of security from just being bombarded by inappropriate messages or just super aggressive dudes coming onto them.
Well, see, a person would only put value on that not being a problem if you had suffered from that problem before, right? So if they had never been on online dating before, they don't know how horrible it can get with all the stupid messaging and the people sending you dick pics and all kinds of other crap, then why would they put value or see the benefit in having to be the first one to talk?
Yeah.
What I have seen is that a lot of the people that I have met online have moved from Tinder to Bumble.
Because they're tired of it?
Because they're tired of Tinder. Tinder got them into online dating because that's the heavily marketed one, and what their best guy friends or their girlfriends told them that they had been successful with. They got sick of it, and then they moved to Bumble. So, like I said, Tinder has announced that they are going to be bringing that to the U.S. as well, because it is a better way of dating. And it also, like I said, as we'll get into when we get into the next section here, the scams, cleans up a lot of these websites just in its nature. So to present, app dating, swipe dating remains prevalent. Using apps to date remains prevalent. They're just easy and convenient. You can do them anywhere, and you can even swipe date while you're sitting alone at the bar or in the restaurant without a date. How fun!
Now, wasn't Tinder also geolocated as well? You could hone your group down to sample size in your area.
I got confused with that as I was writing these notes here. Okay, I think the way they were talking about the influential aspect of Grindr for its geolocation services was that when you open up the app, it is focused on alerting you to who is around you. Tinder and other dating apps allow you to filter a search for profiles that are around you. Not saying, hey, this person's in the same bar with you right now, but more like, hey, these people are in your city.
Got it.
And that's what I think the geolocation aspect of that was about. It was trying to pinpoint more of where you are so that you can show other people where you are, to meet them now, not talking to them, not chatting, more of like just a hookup culture type thing. But
yeah. The only time I've heard Grindr discussed, I think it was in a movie, and they were joking about how the guy was able to pull up on his app and find like 5 dudes down to fuck within 100 feet.
I'm
sure that was embellished. Yeah.
But that's the concept. And so Tinder doesn't work that way. Bumble doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Well, and then when someone told me was explaining to me what Tinder was, we were in an airport and he pulled it up. He's like, we can find people that are in this airport here, I guarantee you. And I don't know what he was doing. He was just swiping and stuff like that. It didn't make any sense to me at the time. But
I don't know how you would
narrow it down
geographically that small. I think maybe he was probably just basing that off a chance thing. Just there's so many people here. If we swipe it up, we'll find somebody else on their phone right now that might be on it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way that you can, at least in my experience, or if there was, they took that option away.
Okay.
I don't think you can, because you can adjust your maximum distance or whatever down to a mile, I think. I don't know, maybe it's only 5. It might be a mile.
Your maximum distance from what?
So when you type in it uses your location off the GPS on your phone.
Yeah.
And you can swipe the little slider bar and you can say 1 to 500 to 1,000 miles away. That's how big the radius is of people that you want to be shown within this age group, male or female, whatever. So I think that you can turn it all the way down to a mile, but that's still a mile radius from where you are. That's 3,000 something feet, So I mean, okay.
Oh, especially if you're in a major city.
But if you're in an airport, the cool part about that is if you're in an airport, usually there's not a whole lot around airports. I guess it depends on how crazy the city is, right? But I mean, if they're kind of out away from everything, you put it down to a mile, and yeah, you probably could find people in the warehouse, in the 1 mile radius, in the radius, what I'm going to say, who are also using the app at the same time and matching. But that's also assuming that they like you and want to match with you. Just because they're there it's not going to show you. Oh yeah, wait, I think there's a chick 300 feet away from us. No, it doesn't show you geolocation based. Whereas I think with Grindr, it actually here's a map. Here's all the people around you, like an Uber, like
you to walk.
That's kind of how I was thinking about it.
Yeah,
like
Uber or Lyft. Yeah.
Huh.
It's like you could literally walk up to. Are you
this red dot here?
Are you exactly or some stupid username or whatever? Yeah.
I'm surprised there isn't like a hologram above them pointing down at the person.
Well, see, not until we get the retinal overlay augmented reality. Yeah,
it'll probably be a bullseye on his ass.
I'm a little more Blade Runner advanced than we are right now.
That's ridiculous.
I'm sorry, that was
have to
extremely inappropriate.
What I was going to say is the augmented. That was fucked up, Rick. You're off the show. No, what I was thinking of is the augmented reality that they implemented into the Yelp app. So I might even have that mistaken. It might not even be the Yelp app, but I believe with Yelp you can or Around Me, I can't remember which it was. You can hold up the camera, turn on the camera in the app, hold up your screen so it's looking around, and it will actually show you that building right there. That is this restaurant. That building right there. That is this restaurant, and pop up with a little rating or whatever. Just like in Black Mirror or whatever, how the retinal overlays show the social media credit or account or whatever, stuff like that. So that kind of stuff. I think Yelp will do that now. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, Grindr could have totally implemented that. You pull it up and look at a freaking crowd and this person right here, this person, that's crazy. If it could pinpoint our exact location that accurate. And I'm willing to bet it's not that accurate because, think about it. If you're in a club or something, you're not going to get your that accurate a GPS inside from this theater anyway.
Right.
So I don't think it would be that perfect, but you might be able to tell who's in that building with you. Yeah, I think I could see it being that accurate. And then you start walking around, and then it would probably have a picture of their profile or something like that. And you're like, okay, well that dude looks like this. I'm gonna go find him over here. Or that girl look like this or whatever. And who knows? Like I said,
I see the scary future of this being that you have everybody's information by pointing your device at them.
Social
you
credit.
still haven't seen that episode of Black Mirror, have
Apparently
you?
not.
Oh, damn it! I've been telling this guy to see this episode of Black Mirror. It's season 3,
Shall
episode
will I
1.
listen?
Yeah, forever now since it came out. Yeah. If you guys want to do a little research, hopefully we're going to do. I think the next episode will be our social credit system topic, and you want to do a little pre-homework for it. Check out that episode. You get an idea of where we're heading with that, and one possibility as it gets implemented further and further into society. But not to digress too far, let's talk about scams.
Yeah, Glenn, let's talk about scams.
Glenn's got a
right.
good story for
So,
us. You want to start us off with that?
Sure,
Okay.
let's go for this.
Yes.
Something that I ran into in online dating experience.
Online dating woes.
Yeah, met up with this lady at a Starbucks in the afternoon. Grab coffee and sit down and chat. And while we're talking, it's like, well, I tried to ask her a bit about herself and what her angle is, or I don't know, just get to know somebody. And she came back with a story about how she was considering moving into prostitution, and it turned into like a solicitation, and it was just a really, really awkward situation.
I mean, what was she like giving you like options of something, or was she just telling you
How
a
did she preface
story?
that or deliver that?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, did you sit there at one point going, "How much money do I have on me?"
No,
Oh, so she wasn't a
no
good sell,
point
huh?
did I consider it.
I got $38.
Yeah.
What was
That's
she
our
like,
date.
trying to put herself through college, or her dog died? and
She
needed-
gave me a story about needing to pay for a medical issue, and then went into another.
Was it an STD?
I did not ask.
Eventually, it will be. Was it believable, or was it just like total bullshit and you
I'm-
see right through it?
I could kind of see it, like
Yeah.
what she was talking about. I'm not going to go into any of the details, but
Got it.
she was looking for, or she was complaining about how she wasn't getting enough money from the state to pay for everything.
Nice.
So she was trying to make some extra money on our back. And she actually said that.
Just trying to make ends meet, Glenn.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow.
That was one of the really memorable moments of online dating that I've run into.
Can
Wow.
imagine. I've never had that situation happen in person. Definitely had it happen.
My biggest question is, how did you get out of there?
How did you
well-
end that situation?
Okay, that's nice. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Nice. So you just went straight for the out. Got it.
I'm out.
Got it. So that is. We'll
She could
start.
have been a cop.
Okay.
That's possible.
That's one of the first scams that I've run into. And so I have a whole list here, and I've actually run into all of them.
Just run into all of them.
all of these that I'm going to go through
The
here.
cops trying to scan you for porn and
We'll get to the cops. Escort services, trying to lead you via. So again, these are all going to start off the same. There's a account and there's an account and it's a female or somebody you're trying to that you're desirable.
So would this be on like a Tinder or something, or this be like
It can be anything.
okay,
Any way that you would be interested.
all right,
It can be there. And what Glenn just described, either escort services or prostitution, sales or marketing or whatever, is definitely one that they try and lead you onto. There are a lot of times these fake profiles will send automated messages or trying to get you to chat to see if you're a live person. There's bots that run in the background. There's also law enforcement uses this. They fish with these. They look for people who are trying to pick up girls for prostitution on these websites and will set up a meet and arrest you, because you've been talking about prostitution. Again, these are usually easy to pick because you can tell where they'll lead it. Unless you're a real dumb guy, they can lead. They're leading you, and that's what they're looking for. And it's pretty obvious that they're leading you. But it's interesting to go along with it for a little while to see what their attack angle is. So starting off this topic here, I want to throw out there, always be suspicious. Remember that with everything else in life, in order to avoid becoming a victim, you must learn to think like a criminal. Plain and simple. You have to understand what somebody who wants to take advantage of you or to hurt you or whatever is thinking or could be thinking about doing to you.
Also, just basic situational awareness.
Absolutely. Well, that's if you're meeting in person. I'm not before.
Okay.
I wasn't even get to that point. Your story, yeah, you had already gotten there. They had already gotten you there. I haven't gotten none of these. I don't think I've actually gotten to in person. It was more what I experienced them trying to do from the computer end of things, right? But yeah, definitely. I mean, that's why you meet in public places and stuff of that.
I'd say it's still a form of situational awareness.
That's true. That's true, yeah. Be aware of your surroundings and what's happening in front of your computer and what somebody's leading you into or not leading you into. Of all these scams that I've seen, many of them, many more, like the vast majority, are scams designed to target men rather than women. Now, obviously, I haven't sat in these websites as a woman for that much, but I've done a fair amount of research. And even if you think logically about it, what would women really want that could be exploited from such an experience as this? Other than a man looking to hurt them or rape them or anything of that nature, something bad physically happening to them, it's a lot harder. Women are generally, and I hate to generalize, but this is based on stats here. Women are generally not as interested or easily sold on pornography, escort services, prostitution, mail order husbands, and they're not, unless they're elderly, they're generally not easy to scam out of money. So eliminating those things, what is it exactly that you have to think about that thing, again, thinking like a criminal. What is it exactly that you might gain from going after a female in this realm of online dating? You're not going to get her to sign up for a porn site. You're not going to get her to more than likely, you're not going to get her to take into consideration an escort service or hiring you as a prostitute. It's just easier men are easier prey for this stuff than females are. Now, I'm not saying that all females wouldn't fall for this stuff. Okay, sure. If we have to admit, yes, you girls, you can have that moment too. But for the most part, most of these scams are focused on men because there's more things that they can scam out of men because dudes are stupid and horny and have credit cards and they'll whip them out they'll whip it out or whip them out.
Easy target.
I beat you to it, huh? No, I wasn't playing with it when I whipped it out, Glenn.
Were you in public? The story leads me to believe you were in public.
Yep. So I want to break this up into a couple different categories because the scams I found, I tried to figure out a best way I could categorize them. And the first ones are actually from the websites themselves. And it's debatable if you would call these scams or not, but I think it's at least, if nothing else, a misdirection or disinformation. In my opinion, it's still a scam, but whatever. One of the most popular is, and all these websites do this, it's just, how do you catch them when they're the ones that control all the information and know what they're doing? They pad their user base. It's called padding their user base. There are all kinds of fake accounts that they put on there to make it look like there's 1,000 more girls on there than there is. And one example of this is showing a whole bunch of beautiful women in your area before you sign up or before you pay. Then when you pay or you sign up, they have your information, they have your credit card, you paid them, whatever. All of a sudden you look in your area, wow, we narrowed it down a little bit more and there's only 3. Sorry, buddy. Better luck next time. You already got your money. You're not worried about it. And most of these payment plans are structured for the instant gratification of generally 1 month. And it's usually $30 to $50 for the first month. And after that, they really don't care. They've got you. The next sucker will come around and they'll show him the same thing. They'll get $30, $50 off of him. They're not really interested in the residual. They don't really care about you repeating. They know you're probably not going to repeat. So they only want that first chunk of change from you. Another scam that they do is they show many highly rated, very good-looking profiles first. We had mentioned this in Bumble. First thing you do when you open the app, Bumble shows you all the popular profiles in your area. I mean, basically, as a dude, you open it up, you see a whole bunch of freaking hot girls. I'm sure it's the same for the girls. Open it up, you see a whole bunch of hot guys. Those people have they're being shown to everybody in your area every single time they open the app. They have tens of thousands of hits. You're not going to get to any of them. They're never even going to know you saw their profile or swiped on them. Maybe by some chance of dumb luck, but I mean, the numbers there's no way. So that's what you're up against with the websites themselves. Now, is that a scam that can harm you? I guess it can sucker you out of some money. But I mean, generally speaking, at most you're out $30. Sometimes if you do a week long or whatever, it's $10, $15. I don't know. It's not that bad. Could be worse. Another one that I run into a lot, and this is getting super, super, super popular. So this is probably the most important one that I want to throw out there because I want people to think about this angle whenever they see these profiles. There's a very strong chance that the profiles of girls you're seeing are actual real profiles, some of them. And even still, if they look like models and they're beautiful. Because a lot of these girls are models and are beautiful and are creating these profiles themselves. I call this category self-promoting girls. There is no shortage. I mean, a massive slew of YouTubers, wannabe Instagram models, Twitch streamers, Snapchat point boosters, the list goes on. Girls that are creating dating profile accounts with no intention to meet anybody. They're just linking or putting their Snapchat name or putting their Instagram name or their Twitch stream link or whatever in the profile. And these girls cycle through geographic locations, major cities, with these profiles. I've caught them numerous times. A real easy way to see it is if you see any female profile with an Instagram link, a name or a Snapchat name, pull up the account. If you pull up the Instagram account and she's got 800,000 followers, if she's got anything more than 1,000 followers, it's fake. She probably has a whole bunch of pictures on there, really beautiful, bikinis, beaches, whatever the hell. They all want to be the next Instagram supermodel. And there have been a lot of those, and that's why there's so many girls doing this. Or the next biggest Twitch streamer, or whatever, YouTuber. That's what they're doing. They're promoting. There was one that I came upon maybe a couple weeks ago. She, I think the profile said, I don't remember how old she said she was. It doesn't matter what she picked for the age anyway. Anyway, so she had a profile filled out, looked very legit, real pictures, everything looked believable. Passed my first visual inspection, you know.
The sniff test?
The sniff test, yeah. I looked her up. She had she had given her Instagram name on the profile page. And first of all, that, like I said, for me, that's an immediate, warning flag, red flag. That's probably BS. So I go to the Instagram page. The Instagram page is just set up to have a short description linking to another Instagram page. I go to the second Instagram page. It had her username for the other Instagram page. Over 800,000 followers. Turns out she's a YouTube streamer. Turns out she's 15 and in high school. Her latest video, she had, thousands of videos posted, just the standard stupid stuff that little girls put on YouTube, doing their makeup, talking about their friends at school, whatever. One of the latest videos she had uploaded was her first day of high school. Obviously not looking to date. These girls just figured out a long time ago, and it's extremely successful. I mean, you show a little bit of cleavage, show an ass shot, whatever. Whatever's legal, whatever's allowed to be shown on the website or the medium that you're putting these pictures out there, you'll get 10,000 dudes in a heartbeat following you, hoping to talk to you, whatever. Works.
So what is the benefit there? Are they paid for their number of subscribers or followers?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it legal to have a 15-year-old with a page like that?
On YouTube, sure. And making money.
And Instagram showing pictures of her body?
It's not nudity. You can show an ass cheek. You can show. I think you can even do pasties, and show boobs. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's questionable. You're right, but I mean, it doesn't matter because she doesn't have to show any nudity. She could just be in a bikini.
Well, I wasn't suggesting that she'd show nudity. I was under the impression that you can't do that on Instagram, anyways. But it just seems, I don't know. I don't want to say immoral, but it seems like it shouldn't be right that a 15-year-old could be flaunting herself around like that on Instagram.
It's also assuming that you know she's 15. She probably lied to that too.
This is true.
I mean, I have I don't know. Maybe you don't have an Instagram account, but
I don't.
Yeah, all it is an email address and tie it to your Facebook, and that's it. So Facebook is supposed to, Facebook has an age that you put in, but you can put any age you want. You don't verify it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're giving your social security number and they're going through the federal government and checking your age.
They got to scan your driver's license.
Yeah, you don't have to do any of that crap. They don't know. So yeah, they can be creating these accounts and getting tons of followers, and then guess what? When they do turn 18, holy crap! By that time, they'll have 1.5 million followers, or 2 million or whatever.
That says volumes about our culture.
Big time. And what's funny is, this sounds like if this is a new concept to you, I assure you, first of all, it's not. Second of all, there is no shortage of girls doing this. It's massive. As in, you pull up 100 accounts, I guarantee you 25% of them are doing this.
Well, it's very common. I remember seeing that in high school. They want that attention. Some of them naively not understanding how negative it can go, or what it could put them in a bad situation.
But see, in this,
and being unaware of it, but they just want that male attention for some reason.
absolutely, in this realm, there's no risks to them at all.
No, and the more followers they get, the more money they make.
Right.
They become a valuable product, basically, at this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's worth money. That's the thing. And people don't realize how much money it's worth. Even Twitch streaming, you can make a lot of money doing that stuff, and it's real simple.
Yeah,
if
you
you're
got
a
a
girl.
couple million followers, you're making money off that.
And how this tied into online dating was that these girls would set up the Instagram page, right?
Well, they'll just fake accounts trying to lure people in their direction. They're using these as like mirrors to
right?
get you to look in one direction.
And on top of that, the beauty part for them is, I mean, okay, so if you're going to pay for marketing to something, let's just take a step back and think about advertising and marketing. You can show a billboard to somebody, to 1 million people. How many of those people even care? They might see it, but they don't care. Those are not people who are looking necessarily. Only a small percentage of the people are going to be looking for that product and think, oh, yes, Tide bleach. I always talk about Tide laundry.
Yeah.
Tide, yes, I need Tide. Okay, great. I saw the advertisement. Now I'm going to go hop on Amazon right now and buy it because that's what I was looking for. The market that they can tap into with online dating is hungry men who will do anything to find female. This is our job in life, biologically, anthropologically, whatever, societally, whatever. They will actively, and I've talked to a number of guys who have told me very similar things. Dude, I'll add her Instagram account and subscribe to her and send her a message anyway because sometimes they respond.
Wow.
Oh, geez,
You
dude,
mean
really?
the girl who's working that account for them responds to you?
Exactly. When these accounts get big enough, man, they have
None of
enough
these people
money.
ever worked in L.A., did they?
Yeah, they pay people to run these accounts for them.
Absolutely,
When you
they
get
do.
big
They're
enough,
called assistants.
Yeah, and they'll work for nothing. I mean, people don't realize how big this stuff goes and how much money you can truly make it, and how much this stuff is, how much value this stuff has.
Oh yeah. And the other thing too is if you're a model and you're using this and you're getting all this, this promotion,
model.
people. Well, I'm just saying
That's a whole nother level. That's a
yeah.
profession.
But I'm just saying, like, if you're not a professional model and you started out doing one of these pages to get followers and stuff, you get enough followers. Now you get offers from other entities to do other products and other things like that.
get
I mean, it's
paid.
all extremely valuable in general.
The most important thing these days is to get the following on social media. And these little girls know it, and it's very, very easy for girls to do it if they're good looking, especially if they're good looking. So, a lot of money in it, a lot of drive. Here you thought you were just trying to meet somebody, trying to get yourself
You've
a
opened up
relationship.
Pandora's box.
That's it. And really, you're just falling prey to the BS that this world has become as far as marketing, the new marketing. That's it. Now, another section from porn sites. Oh, yeah. No shortage of fake profiles that send automated messages to try and get you to chat or view profiles or pay for a porn site. I mean, you'll get the standard messages like, oh, I'd really love to talk to you, but I don't use this website. I'm not on here that often. If you can access my profile at this website here. And it'll be either an escort service website or just a straight up porn website. You can check out my profile here where I upload my videos. I'd love to chat with you. Bye. And that's it. Sometimes they're even automated enough to have conversations with you if the entity that owns them has enough money to pay for the AI, if you will, programs that will kind of chat to you.
Some of those are pretty funny too.
They are hilarious. As a matter of fact, we were trying to think of stories that each of us could tell on this with respect to this. There was one time, this was a number of years ago. This probably early 2000s. I was chatting with one of these obvious bots, right?
Just to see what would happen.
Yeah, and I was continuing
just for research.
So I started insulting the individual, the bot, right? And I was bored. I was in college. I was bored that night. I don't know why the hell I was doing this, right? So I started insulting it, and I started trying different racial insults. I started trying just different national insults, and finally I hit one, right? I got the guy to respond to me, and he started cussing me out. He started saying all kinds of messed up stuff. Dude, it was great. All of a sudden, it went from an automated bot to a real person who was actually writing because he didn't speak English very well, and so his typing was messed up too. It was great, dude. I actually got one. And I was so proud of myself. I got one pissed off enough to respond and start talking shit to me. It was awesome. So I know that there are people out there, or at least there used to be. I mean, who knows now? Who knows how good the AI is? But
people monitoring the.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. That was one of my life's accomplishments. That's.
Hey, man, whatever makes you feel proud of yourself.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Did you have one too, Glenn?
No, that's just along the same lines.
Yeah.
You've got one to respond, or you've tried?
No, just going back and forth and playing with the bot.
Yeah.
You know, in the reply stream and seeing what you can get it to agree to, or
Yep.
or
Yeah, just or whatever. It's just sometimes it's kind of funny. So going along those same lines, the next category, money scammers, and these ones I have played with because usually these are real people, and I'm very curious about.
It's like the prince in Nigeria or whatever.
Not that stupid. Better ones. They get a little more personal in them. So I've had this happen a number of times. It'll be a female profile of a with obviously. Actually, I don't even need to say that. They're all going to be female profiles. It'll be a girl with a sad story, like Glenn was saying, that needs help with whatever the situation is. The most recent one I ran into was, I don't know, 8 months ago, something that I can recall anyway. There's others, but she was had a profile set up. Everything looked real. It might have even been real for all I know. What was her story? Her car was broken down in Reading, just enough far out of Sac that it would be a multi-hour drive to get there, too far to drive. I would love it if you could come pick me up. I'm stranded out here. This, that, all kinds of sob story stuff, right? But the interesting angle was she made it sound like, the person made it sound like, you please come help me. Oh, but you're too far away to help. Oh, okay. I really need to get the alternator fixed in my car. Any money? I mean, could you maybe send some money? And then when I get back to Sacramento, we could meet up or whatever. That's what it was. The whole sob story. And she dragged it out quite a while. It was definitely a real person I was talking to. I don't know if it was a guy or girl or whatever. But that was the whole scam, was to try and get you to send money. A lot of these scams, these type of websites, originate from Philippines, Korea, Nigeria, Thailand, India, Russia. They're always these foreign entities that do this. Sometimes you can tell by the pictures, like they'll even use pictures of girls in their country or whatever. You go, well, that's obviously a Korean chick or whatever, or that's obviously a Russian chick. It's like, okay, that looks fake, as it is, because sometimes that looks fake. Obviously, those people exist in America too, but sometimes that looks fake. Just like look at the backgrounds, of what people have taken pictures of. Yeah, they could have traveled to London and they're standing in front of Big Ben or whatever. Okay, great, I believe that, but not too many people are going on a trip to stand in front of in a Russian ghetto with a Russian street sign behind them to go stand in the slums out there and take a picture about being happy there. And who the hell would use that as their profile pic? That looks a little odd, right? And that's how some of these pictures will be. And these money scams range from mail order bride scams to your standard. You've won $1 million. All you have to do is give us your bank account. We'll deposit the first $10,000, make sure it's real, and then we'll set the rest afterwards, right? Or give us $5,000, and then we can process the paperwork and we'll send the money. Yeah. There's another one that I run into quite a bit, and it seems to be entities from Philippines and Korea and Thailand. And the story always goes like this. They are visiting from out of the country their grandma or their mom or their aunt. They're on vacation. And they really just wanted to look for somebody to hang out with while they're here for 2 weeks. Sure. Okay. You're on a dating website listing that you're saying you're looking for a relationship, whatever. You live in Sacramento and you want to meet somebody for a long-term relationship, but you don't live here. Okay, well, right off the bat, that should set off red flags. They don't live here. Even if they didn't live here and they're just visiting, they don't have a visa. They don't have citizenship. So what the hell are you even talking to them for? Why would you be interested in this in the first place? But the story always thickens when you start finding, if you look for them, obvious discrepancies between the info that they tell you and what's on the profile. I see this all the time. So where do you, I try and probe them. Where are you from? Where's your aunt? Where are you visiting? Here in wherever in America. And they'll say some city. A lot of times it's not in the city that's from their profile because they don't even remember, as they're switching the damn profile and all the locations, they don't remember which one they used last.
I feel like it's just another telemarketer on the other end that's trying to, hey, Joe, take over the story. I'm out.
And they very much do that too. They have systems set up where they can just transfer to different parts of the world, call centers, like calling Dell or calling AT&T or something. Whoever picks up, we got a live one here, transfer it over. That's exactly what they do. And so a lot of times they don't even see the profile. That's not what they're being transferred. They're trying to lure you into something with this story. And it's generally easy to find the discrepancies, associated with that, what they claim and what was on the profile. So there's those, lots of those. There is also the law enforcement aspect. Here's another category. And this one is probably good that it's out there. However, I have some experience messing with them. Not very far because again, I don't think it's a safe area to mess with too much. Especially for even for the research, curiosity, a research of curiosity. But there are definitely entities out there that are fishing for pedophiles, and I have run into a couple of these accounts that are listed as 18. They'll message you sometimes, and they typically go the same way. As you start talking to them, eventually they'll it's kind of like, again, it goes back to the leading. If you want to, I guess it goes in reverse. If you want to keep from becoming a victim, you have to learn to think like a criminal. On top of that, I guess if you want to be a criminal, you sometimes have to think about what it's like to be a victim. So these law enforcement agencies or these other entities, for whatever reason, they're looking for pedophiles. It could be some guy who just wants to, fuck up some guy who's a pedophile. I don't know. How am I going to know that, right? But what they'll do is usually the story rolls out the same way. They'll say that they're 18 in the profile, and they will let it slip in convenient or what I think calculated ways, because it sets off an alarm to me. They'll say, "Oh, I'm still in high school. I'm 17." You'll be talking more. Again, this is after some talking has gone on. They got to kind of get a little bit of your trust. They think you're at least talking to somebody of legal age, right? When I have experimented with this, I'm extremely careful not to say anything sexually related, anything along those lines at all. And that's also part of the way I like to drag it out further to see if I can identify what their real goal is. And I know this sounds kind of weird to even take the time to do, but I find this stuff fascinating. I find, again, if you don't want to be, I'll repeat again, if you don't want to be a victim in this world, you must learn to think like a criminal. I want to see what angles these people take because it makes me feel safer.
So I'm totally off the side here, but what have you constructed to defend your house against the criminal element that you have been perceiving?
That is a whole nother topic. I have gone through great lengths, sir. That's a whole nother episode, though.
Maybe two.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I know we ain't got time for that. So yeah, and then usually they'll drop, "Oh, I'm actually not 18. I'm 17, or I'm 16. I'm in high school, or whatever." And then inevitably they'll continue the conversation. You'll keep writing back and forth, whatever. And then they'll every time they'll try to turn it sexual because that's what they want. They want you to, if they're trying to catch a pedophile, that person will probably start setting up some sort of sexual situation or endeavor or whatever, and that's what they're looking for. And what I have found is that when you don't go that route, because I'd like to see how long I can drag them on without giving them what they're looking for, right? Usually they'll come up with some really weird way of saying, basically to fit it into their story, not admitting what the situation is, but to fit it into their story in a manner that's that leaves them an out. So for one, it was really, just really weird stuff. This isn't going to make sense, but this is how this particular situation went. Randomly, I get a message. "So what are you looking for after trying to lead me into sexual talks, whatever, or physical discussion or whatever, however you want to word that."
So essentially, you didn't take the bait
Yeah.
for the sexual conversation, and they just asked you bluntly, "What do you need to hear?"
What are you looking for? Yeah, well, how? Yeah, exactly. Trying to lead me in a different way, right? And I'm like, usually, actually, it's the same response I give everyone because generally I'm open to almost anything other than anything not illegal, right? But I usually I kept it very unbiased and very open. Well, I'm not really looking for anything. I think I said something about, I'm open to friends. I'm open to whatever online to talk, just chatting online. I don't care. What are you looking for? And the angle was, well, it sounds like you're looking for a relationship. No, I didn't say anything about looking for a relationship. What are you talking about? And the response was, "I told you I didn't want a relationship. I was just looking for something sexual. Obviously, there's nothing here." Really weird. Very blunt, off topic, but they had to get out somehow. They were tired of putting the time into me.
They were going for that urgency.
Yes.
In like a phishing scam.
That's exactly what it is. Now, that could be law enforcement looking for somebody to meet up to go pick up an underage person. That could be, like I said, it could be anything. It could be a million different stories. But every time, I've only had it happen like maybe 3 times over the course of my time with online dating. And I think each time it was the same situation, not the same excuse, but the same like real quick, blunt, I'm out type thing. And then all of a sudden you're like, what the that was ridiculous. But that they need a way out because they need to move on to somebody else. This is probably somebody being paid to do this, and they're like, well, this is obviously not going to pan out, so they'll move on to something else. Yeah.
I'm sure they have a script of like.
Oh, they do. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be a pre-written scenario, and like I precluded that one with. It's probably good that those things are out there. Hopefully, it was law enforcement, and hopefully they are looking for people who are looking to do bad things. With underage kids, whatever people. And, I like to hope that that's what it was, but who the hell knows what the real motivation is? I mean, I would think that a circumstance like that wasn't looking for the other stuff we've been talking about, to lure them to porn sites, to lure them to escort service, but who knows? Maybe they were trying to do that. Money scams.
They were fishing.
They were fishing for something, and that's it. And so every time I run into those, I find those ones really, really interesting, as well as the previous ones, the money scammers. I love to see what their new angle is going to be.
Is there a way to report that to law enforcement?
Oh,
because if you were reporting it to law enforcement and it was a law enforcement site, no harm, no foul, maybe they're alerted that they need to hone their skills a bit more. But if it's a prostitution ring, they'd probably like to know about that.
I can't see how you would give them enough information to prove that it was such, because, I mean, I would imagine that if it's a prostitution ring, their whole money is going to be banking on getting you physically in contact with you. Mm-hmm. So if they're looking for underage girls to Taken type stuff, in the movie Taken type stuff, right? Or for sex trafficking or whatever. Their whole game is to get physical contact with the individual to kidnap them, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have to go a lot further into the endeavor to find out if that's really what they're after. Mm-hmm. And that means that you would have to take it to the point where you're willing to meet this person in person and play along in order to get them thinking that they got you.
Yeah.
And that's way closer than I'm willing to take it.
Well, I meant like if there were a way to...
Because, I mean, if you turn that over to the cops, what's it going to look like? Just a conversation. I didn't say anything sexual, and it could... because they never, at least in my experience, they've never taken it past what truly an underage girl might say. There wasn't anything there that didn't sound possible. But just the fact that it existed or was happening made me, told me like, oh, I bet I know what this is. Let me see how far I can draw this out without, incriminating myself or whatever. But just to see how far they'll take it,
Just to play with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Just play with it.
You see? You're thinking about playing it with it, aren't you?
No, I was setting you up.
So, I mean, yeah, that would be nice to know if there was a place to report that kind of stuff. But again, I don't think there was anything there to report. I mean...
But was this somehow that you got messaged or connected with somebody off of one of the actual dating sites?
Yes. This
couldn't you report it to the dating site?
Okay, yes. And believe me, and that's something I actually hadn't written my notes, but that's a very good point. I made it a point for a good couple of months to just sit there and go through... One particular dating site in particular was OkCupid. And I would report and flag every single obvious fake profile that I could find. Whether it was pictures I'd seen already in another profile, whether it was the same copy and paste profile description that I'd already seen, whatever it was, I can pick out a fake one like night and day, black and white. It's real easy. And I'll report those and report those and report those and report those. Now, they block them from you seeing them again. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what happens to it. Maybe it doesn't get blocked, maybe it doesn't get deleted, maybe nothing happens, but you don't see it again. However, every single day, there are dozens more to replace them. It doesn't matter. It's like, so I gave it, like I said, a couple months trying to do this every day. I would sit there and block all of these just to see what would happen. It had no effect. I think that they write scripts that generate them on their own. They're being made automatically. You're not keeping up with somebody who's doing it. It doesn't matter. You're never going to beat it. Whatever. But here's a different angle on it. It's very possible that the websites themselves are generating these profiles.
Oh, absolutely.
To pad their user base. So they're not going to do anything to try and bring this full circle.
They'll just block it from you seeing it.
They're not going to do anything about it when you report it to them because they're the ones doing it. The other thing, even if they're not the ones doing it, it still benefits them because somebody else is padding their user base with random pictures of girls. So when you go to the website, you think there's a whole lot more on there than there actually is. So it benefits them either way.
Yeah.
Unless you can find a way to legally call them out on it, why would they, even bother changing it or fixing it or whatever, or you're messing with it all? It's to their advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the game we are playing.
Also
and losing.
the game we're losing.
Also
point,
the game
Glenn.
we are losing.
Good point.
Yes. And yeah, you just have to remember one thing. There's lots and lots and lots of entities out there who are trying to get something from you. And I assure you, a majority of those things are not a relationship and not dating. But hopefully, even though through all this, you aren't too discouraged from trying. It can work. It does work. Like I said, I've met quite a few people and had a couple of successful relationships, and it does work. I know a lot of people who are married and from online dating or have very long relationships. Whatever and a lot of guys who have gotten laid off of it too. Whatever it is you're looking for, it is achievable. But yeah, it's very helpful to know what you're going up against. And on that note, we're about out of time here. A couple hours on this topic. I hope you found it interesting, and thank you for listening. And be careful out there, guys and gals. And best of luck to you. Show notes and other info can be found at our website, greatdistraction.com. The Great Distraction is listed in iTunes, and we greatly appreciate it when our listeners take the time to look us up and leave us a 5-star rating and review. That helps our show grow and motivates us to continue producing content. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so using the email address, greatdistractionpodcast@gmail.com, or via our website. We're always interested in hearing any thoughts, comments, or questions from our listeners. Keeping up on the latest from us can be done in several different ways. You can add us to your favorite RSS feed tracker. The link is available on our website or in iTunes. Or you can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Great Distraction, one word, no space. As always, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the support.